He's an adjunct faculty member at Georgetown University and a public affairs officer in the United States Navy Reserves. And he is ManTech International's Employer of Choice Ambassador. Correspondent James Crawford sat down with Omari Faulkner.
Tell us something about your personal background, the military background.
So my personal background in the military, I think is very interesting and unique. I've never had anyone in my family to serve in the military. And after high school, I went off to Georgetown to become a professional basketball player, which really didn't come to fruition. But once I came to ManTech and saw so many different veterans, within our government services industry, it piqued my interest a lot. So went to watch Georgetown play a basketball game on a Navy ship carrier, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and met a lot of different crew members. And literally one of the captains told me that I should look into the reserves. And at that time, I thought the reserves were really more focused on former active duty members that would come back and drill once a month. I knew about the reserves, but I just, never looked into it as much. And after that conversation, I did. And I wanted to kind of know what our servicemen and women do, and I decided to join the reserve. So today I'm a lieutenant public affairs officer in the Navy.
Tell us something about the various programs that you work in with veterans.
So some of the programs that I do with veterans, we call them kind of our veterans in transition programs. And what that entails is really going out talking to a lot of our active service members about the transition period. As we know, any form of transition that you see in life, it can be very difficult, whether you're transitioning from a stay-at-home parent to a working parent, or if you look at our military members who are, transitioning by the tens of thousands every single day into their civilian world. I mean, that's a pretty dramatic shift. So one of my roles is to go out, speak to them about the challenges that you can face and about the importance of getting out front of the transition. Because the sooner you start, the easier that transition is going to be. So that's everything. We're working with them on interview prep, resume prep, some of the things, as simple as, hey, going to a website to understand a company, understand the company culture, to see if that culture fits you, and what types of organizations would probably fit your background best. So if it's an area that I can help you find the best place to find your home, to find you a career that supports yourself and your family, that's what we do. And we try to do that all across the country throughout military installations and even at some of the universities as well.
So what do you think contractors should avoid doing when they're trying to attract veterans to the workplace?
One thing I think they should avoid doing is not engaging. We have, hundreds of thousands of men and women transitioning every single year. And those men and women have protected and served our country, with dignity and respect and with, honor and courage and commitment. So I think that all companies should really invest into getting out there, reaching out to our veteran community, and making sure that, whatever it is you do, you understand that the leadership skills that veterans come out of service with, that can, be a huge benefit for your company. I spent the last 3 or 4 days at a conference this past week, and they had multiple sessions where they were dedicated to military recruiting, retention, and also hiring as well, which are 3 key points that I think industry members should always look at and place a huge focus on.
If you were asked what are the top 1 or 2 things that veterans should do before they transition, what would you say? 1,
just be prepared, and 2, be confident. So when I say be prepared, that means going out, doing your research on the companies, understanding some of the pitfalls that you may encounter, which are all around you. So doing your best job to be prepared, which all of our men and women, they're taught that from the day they put on that uniform, the day that they're commissioned, is to be prepared. In regards to being confident for our military members, means that you serve the country. So don't let that be something that you kind of just push to the side, so to speak. Be confident in the fact that you served and be able to explain what you've done during that service, what skills that you've learned throughout that experience. Sometimes I meet military members that, they don't like to really talk about what they've done because sometimes they think it can come off negative because industry may not truly understand that. If you're sitting across from a person that doesn't know what a person who has literally went into a bomb and disassembled that bomb, that may not you may not connect with that person really well, but I think there are ways that we can work with our military members in helping them to almost like translate what skills that they've had from the military and how they can bring those same skills to the industry. What makes me most proud about the work I do is the fact that it's for a company that truly believes what they say. We truly put the energy behind, supporting our veterans, whether it be internally or externally. Being able to do that on a day-to-day basis around the country, at universities, at career fairs, or just speaking to a group of transitioning military members, or even our veterans, who have been transitioned and just want to come together and talk about, maybe different companies, what we do and how we do it, engaging with the veteran community on a day-to-day basis. It's just an honor. Some of the stories that you hear, some of the feedback you receive, just being able to be around people that have done extraordinary things really motivates me every single day when I wake up to continue to try to, make sure that those men and women have a place and make sure that they are as counseled or as prepared and as confident that they can possibly be. And then too, the youth aspect of that. We have an entire generation that's going to come up and be our next leaders. I have 4 children myself. And just the single fact that I can go home to them on a day-to-day basis and talk about what I do for my job and see how it inspires them and piques their interest. What is the Naval Academy, or what's a Service Academy, or what's the difference between an admiral or a flag officer? They ask me all those different questions, and I find it very remarkable. So it kind of truly shows the importance of your job, that you can kind of see the youth, the next generation that are going to have to be our leaders of tomorrow. And you can also see the importance of, focusing on those leaders of today.
So since you're an athlete, you're used to teamwork. When you're in the veteran community, how do you find a new team over on the commercial side?
Absolutely. So when speaking to veterans in regards to going from one team to the next, I think that is very, very important. And it's never easy, for example. Once I left the Department of State, I found a new team at ManTech International. And the reason why that was so easy is because, again, I was very prepared. I knew about multiple different companies or different competitors. And, I researched the company. I looked at the board of directors. I looked at the mission statements. And I made sure that everything that, I loved about the Department of State, that they were somehow interconnected in a way. So going from one team to the next, it's not easy. But again, you do find different teammates, and that's what I've kind of found here at ManTech. It's the same way in the military. You go to different divisions, you work with different service branches, and you have one mission, and it's about how can an airman and help a sailor, accomplish one main goal. So it's applying those same traits when you're looking to transition from the military to the civilian career.